It's a slammer!
Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Great to be along with you. Drew, open up the phone lines. Just go ahead and open them up. 314-436-7900, St. Louis County. That's 314-436-7900. Toll free, it's 800-925-1120. We'll take your phone calls on KMOX this hour. And I'm going to go through some of the sports news of the day, but we'll take your calls. You can go ahead and load them up now to talk Cardinals. I know people want to. I put it on Twitter that I was going to do it. I mentioned it on the air as well. I heard from some people that said, oh, here we go. Oh, no. He's really done it this time. He's taking phone calls. The Cardinals fans are going to let him have it. They're going to air it out. That's not how it is. That's not how it is. They're going to air it out. They're going to let the Cardinals have it and all that stuff. And there will be some sensible things as well. But this is the Cardinals fans aren't nasty. They might at times be unreasonable with some of the things that, they generalize. Some people will. But I think mostly people are rightfully, irritated and frustrated. I mean, so are the Cardinals, by the way. They're 10-18. I mean, they're 8 games under 500. They're 10 out in the NL Central on April 30th. What the heck just happened? I mean, I've taken calls on shows worse than this, situations worse than this, but it's not good. But Cardinals fans will be all right. They'll check in here and do it, and we'll do our thing and talk about it and talk it through. That's what we do. Beautiful day, by the way. Beautiful day. I see some clouds coming in, but otherwise, beautiful sunny day in downtown St. Louis. And it is another game. I mean, the Cardinals play. That's the thing about baseball is you can correct yourself every day. You don't have to sit on it for a week. You got to play again. You've got to pick up and go if you're the Cardinals. And mentally, this has to be draining on the players and the team. It's hard. It's not fun to lose, especially when you think you played okay. Or well, in some cases. And yesterday, they didn't have any offense against Clayton Kershaw, and they lost the ball game. They had some good defense from Carlson. They had a hit off Kershaw not until the 5th. He was the first base runner that they had. Carlson, we'll see what he ends up doing today. We'll see what Ollie's lineup is. Ollie is going to join us today, by the way, but we're pushing it back. He'll be with us at 11:45. I worked that out with him yesterday. It's just a late day for the Cardinals, a long day, and a late game out on the West Coast for us Central Time. So it's 8:00 out there. We'll let them get all situated, and then he will join us at 11:45. And by the way, the lineup will be out by then. We may have a little news by then. I got to think the Cardinals are going to start shuffling some things around. They have, but you start getting a little more aggressive and desperate to make something happen, create a spark, get some fire. Something's got to happen here. And the Cardinals are right now spinning their wheels. Let's first go to our broadcasters to get a recap of what happened, and then we'll dive into some other sports. John and Ricky in Los Angeles. They give us the latest. Bring that up, Drew. We'll hear from our guys.
With Ricky Horton, I'm John Rooney. At Dodger Stadium last night, Clayton Kershaw was tough. 7 innings on the way to picking up his 5th win as the Dodgers beat the Cardinals 1-0.
Also tough on the other side was Jordan Montgomery for the Cardinals. He pitched very well. He gave up 1 run early, and that's all the scoring in the game. Jordan Hicks relieved him. He pitched well. Cabrera got his man, and the Cardinals pitchers allowed just 1 run on 5 hits. Unfortunately, that was enough to pick up a loss.
And that run scored in the 2nd inning after a stolen base and a throwing error with Outman taking 3rd. And then it was James Outman scoring on a single by Austin Barnes, who snapped an 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position.
And the Cardinals need to find a way to pick up a win before heading home. It's been a tough road trip, a lot of losses. It's going to be up to Jake Woodford to get him going.
The Cardinals on the trip are 2-7. Woodford will take a 1-2 record to the mound against Noah Syndergaard 0-3. We're on the air at 2:15. The first pitch at 3:10 today.
Yeah, they've lost 9 series, Drew. 9. I mean, that is just tough to take. Cardinals, again, 10-18 on the season. Another error for them, just out of character. Cardinals making errors. But yesterday was a good performance by Jordan Montgomery, as the guys talked about there. 6 2/3, a run on 5 hits, walked 2, struck out 7. That's what the Cardinals need right now. They need consistent, good starts, and everything should fall into place. Nolan Arenado is not going to hit 239 at the end of this season. He is 0 for 4. He has really been in a skid. They moved him to 3rd in the order. trying to figure out a way to get him going. Goldschmidt hitting second against the lefty with Edman leading off. A lot of righties stacked together. Contreras, Carlson, who can be turned around, O'Neill, and then DeYoung and Kisner. He goes all righty 1 through 8, and it just doesn't happen. The Cardinals can't do it against Kershaw and the Dodgers, and they lose it 1-0. Let's hear from Marmol. I know Mike and Jack are on the line. I'm going to get to you first. 314-436-7900, 800-925-1120. But real quick, let's hear Ollie. This is Bally Sports Midwest.
Kershaw did a really nice job. Obviously, he's done a nice job for a long time, and he was on his game. Located the fastball, the slider was on, landing some curveballs, kept us off balance, but did a really nice job.
How good was Montgomery?
Monty was good, man. He went toe-to-toe with them. I mean, sinker was in play, 7 punch-outs overall. He was determined to have a good game, and we saw a really good version of him tonight.
You had good versions of your bullpen guys that have been.
Yeah, Hicks came in, punched out Mookie, did a really nice job there, went back out, got a couple more punch-outs, and overall he's continuing to look better and better. He's getting swing and miss. He's freezing guys with the fastball. He's landing the off-speed stuff. So overall, it's been encouraging to see him and what Cabby has done. They really solidify our bullpen, and we're able to use them in higher leverage situations. So that's a plus. At the end of the day, we need to put it all together.
Jordan, almost 2 weeks ago, nearly lost his job, and to be able to rebound in the way that he did, what does that say about what he learned in the early part of April?
Yeah, it's called patience. And in this game, you need that, especially when you have a high ceiling in the way Hicks does. It's easy to give up on guys. It takes a lot more courage to stick with them, even when people don't think it's the right play. And we're seeing Hicksy continue to grow both on the field and off the field, and his daily habits and his application of that onto the field is allowing for more consistency. So, yeah, credit to him. He's putting in the work, and we're getting a really good version.
We talked pregame about Dylan Carlson and what you'd like to see from the left side, specifically with him. Did that play into the decision to keep him in there against Gratterall tonight?
It did. At some point, we got to find out. And this is a guy that's running all over the field, making plays for us, and showing that he wants it. So you give him a shot at it there.
What do you think from Arenado?
Yeah, we've seen Nolan in and out and feeling good about his swing. This is a guy that's super intentional with his work, highly competitive, and obsessive in the way he goes about it. And last year we saw a version of this in May, and then in June he went off. So it's a matter of time before we see Nolan doing what we know Nolan can do.
Can you elaborate on the question about not pitch hitting for Carlson? What's the sliding scale there? Like, obviously you have a guy in the corner to go to. Once you see the game that Dylan is having, how do you do those?
Yeah, you can flip a coin there. You can go either way, and Dylan. That's an opportunity there in the way he plays center field. We wanted to give him a shot, and he's into the game mentally, emotionally, and we wanted to see what he can do there.
All right, there's Ollie Marmol giving Carlson a shot, meaning this was part of the Jordan Walker move, is they wanted to give more time to Carlson and O'Neill and let them show what they've got. I mean, Burleson, they've already been playing. They've played him at DH and outfield so much, you'd think that he's a regular. So they obviously like what he shows at the plate. And then you have Newt, who's not going to lose playing time. Nootbaar is going to play. He's just an all-around good player with a very high ceiling. So it really comes down to O'Neill and Carlson, who are veterans now. They're big league veterans. Show me what you got. And that's exactly what they're doing right there. And with Carlson, they're going to give him all the opportunity. Show us what you have. And he made 2 terrific plays out in the field. Ollie also talking there about Carlson hitting lefty late in the game because the Dodgers brought in a right-handed reliever, and they had Carlson in there trying to make something happen from the left side. They want to see him do that. They're not afraid right now to see his left-handed bat. He said he wants it, so give him a shot. He also talked there about good things with Jordan Hicks improving and looking better. That is true. Jesus Cabrera solidifying the bullpen. That's good. That's true. But Ollie did say we need to put it all together. And you can hear a bit of frustration there, although he said, you have to have the courage to stick with some players. and referring to Hicks there with the habits and then the application on the field. Arenado, again, not worried about him. It doesn't sound like Ali is either. Arenado, the only thing you could say bad about Arenado, if anything ever, is that he cares probably so much, probably more than everybody on this radio show listening combined. I mean, he is an obsessed individual and really, I think, is very, very hard on himself. That's my read on Nolan. I think that he is always, always grinding, intense, trying to get better. And I don't know that you're ever going to change him. The guy's been in the game for 10 plus years. I mean, it's just the way he is. His track record is proven. You have to just hope that it is going to eventually turn for him. And I think that it will. I mean, it's Nolan Arenado, for crying out loud. And once he gets going, and if Goldie's going at the same time, they can't carry a club. And a lot of these things get masked a little bit, but there are things that have to be addressed, like consistency in the rotation, which we see a little bit of it starting to happen. Better bullpen, a little of it starting to happen. Got to get that offense going. They definitely have the analytics in their favor, but analytics don't win games. Runs win games. And they've got to find a way to get players across the plate somehow, some way. Anyway, that's Ollie Marmol in a nutshell. Let's take your phone calls. 314-436-7900, 800-925-1120. Mike, you are first up on KMOX's Sports on a Sunday morning. It is great to have you.
Thank you. My first question is, we heard this offseason how they might spend more money. And if you look at the free agents, they really haven't done that well. But it was just odd that nothing happened. And then you have all these hitters, and they're not really seeming to get in a rhythm. I don't even know if they're that happy because I'm not sure Carlson or O'Neill think they're going to be here. Now, that doesn't mean they shouldn't hit. And then, of course, you have to wonder about their philosophy. And I'm not the fire Mo guy normally, but I hear Bill and Mo work on everything together anyway. So I don't know if it'll make that big of a difference. And I just, the obvious question is, why didn't anything happen? Was it the TV deal, you think?
I don't know. I think they have plenty of money. I do think that they poked around and looked for deals, tried to make something happen. And in the end, for a free agent pitcher, they decided they couldn't make a deal that made sense for them. I think they felt like perhaps they were going to get outbid, or maybe they just couldn't come to terms with the agent on a certain player or two or pitcher or two. There are some pitchers out there the Cardinals fans wanted. And I'm pretty sure the Cardinals looked at them too. There's one right there, Jose Quintana. I mean, who wouldn't want him back? The guy started game one of the playoffs for you. But, could they just not work out a deal perhaps if they got involved with Quintana? Maybe. As it turns out, he's not pitching anyway and might not pitch for a while. Verlander was one that I think everybody wanted, but Verlander hasn't gotten going yet. Carlos Rodon was another one. He hasn't gotten going yet. So, I think part of the fear of the Cardinals trying to ink a free agent pitcher is committing dollars to a long-term. Verlander wouldn't have been long-term, but some of these others long-term, and the risk that you could hamstring your team and injury creeps up on a pitcher and suddenly you're stuck with a big deal. Maybe that enters their mind. I'm not saying that they didn't do anything. They might have gone around and tried to make a deal happen, but just didn't feel like with the deals that were flying around baseball that they wanted to get into anything that enormous. That's my guess. But we'll talk to John Mozeliak, kind of review the offseason a little bit and what he thought about that. The other thing is trades. At the deadline last year, they got Montgomery and Quintana for prospects that are not Walker, Hence, Graceffo, Gorman, Mason Wynn. I think everybody wanted Jordan Walker, and this is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Just like Dylan Carlson a few years ago was not going to happen, where Mo said on this station, this was where he said that famous line, you can have Dylan Carlson if you're willing to pry him from my cold, dead hands. Okay. That's pretty definitive. So they don't want to trade big prospects anymore. They're tired of seeing a Rosarena and Alcantara and Gallen and all these others that they let go to make a desperate move or a move that they thought would really improve them. And these guys are going on to be all-world players. That's not fun. Not to mention there are others that they let go that are performing at a very high level. So they want to hang on to those prospects and give them opportunities. And I think that gamble has not worked out so far, I think is fair to say, but it's also April 30th. Let's go to Jack. I hope I answered all of what Mike was talking about there. Jack, you're on KMOX. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you, Tom, for doing this. I appreciate it. It's encouraging and refreshing to know that the Sports Open Line is back again. There's so many of these other stations that don't have dialogue with the fans. They just take your text and give their opinion, and that's the end of it.
I appreciate it.
I got a lot of things concerning the Cardinals. Been a lifelong Cardinal fan for over 60 years. I got a list of them here if you bear with me for a minute.
No, go for it. Yeah, look, this show's as much yours as it is ours, so go for it.
First of all, Burleson might be a hitter, but he's not an outfielder. Walker was never an outfielder. I'm glad they sent him back because that's what he needs as well as his hitting. He could not play lead. He needed AAA experience to learn how to play the outfield. Okay. O'Neill and Carlson have to play. Carlson's your center fielder. I don't care if he hits 220. O'Neill cannot play center field. It seems to me the Cardinals, the entire month of April, was just experimentation, moving guys all around that were out of position that cost them games, et cetera, et cetera. A couple things that do bother me. When the first game of the Arizona series, the first thing they put on the TV screen is that Goldschmidt is the leading hitter in the National League against Arizona with a 449 average, but it's his scheduled day off. So he doesn't play on that Monday, yet the entire team has the day off the following Thursday, 2 days later. This guy's making big money and he's your star, but then he needs a scheduled day off before a team scheduled day off 2 days later. Then they do the same thing with Arenado when they go on the road trip. Then you go to California, the first thing they say about the Dodgers is they lead the league in stolen base against them. So what do? They put the lineup out. The best stolen base they got, the player they got is Edman, and he's sitting on the bench. He's not even in the lineup. But the thing that really bothers me, and if you pay attention to the Cardinals like I probably do too much at my age, the Cardinal pitching staff is entirely different from Kisner's catching. I know you paid the guy the big money. I know he's got a better bat. I don't see any difference in their defensive abilities. But you watch when Kisner's catching versus when Contreras is catching, and you get a much better pitched game. He calls a better game. He knows the staff. He hit 240 to 250 in the minor leagues when he played every day. If the rest of this lineup would produce, if Kisner got a good solid shot to play 10, 12 days in a row, I'm sure he'd hit at least 230 or 240. Take Helsley's game, for example, when he gave up the home run ball. He never called a fastball the entire at bat. And the guy gets a slider on the 3-2 pitch and hits it out of the park, they lose the game. That's the kind of stuff that bothers me. And what's really evident to me this year, more so than ever, I think Marmol blew it with this O'Neill thing in the public. I think he may have lost part of the clubhouse. That's to be seen, I guess, down the road. But I know it's very obvious to me now why Schilt got fired, because he wasn't following the book from upstairs versus how it's being run right now. That's just my opinion and some of the observations I've had. Yeah, I'll be anxious to hear your response. And thanks again for doing this, Tom. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much. There's a lot to get to there. I think, all of it's very interesting and really good observations. I want to make sure I get to all of them. That second to last one there, is he still on the line? Is he gone? Okay. Because I was just thinking about, he's talking about Schilt. Okay. And, that's true. I mean, he didn't follow what the overall philosophy of the team is, both on and in the dugout and away from the dugout, and they moved on to Ollie Marmol. So that is true. There's a lot to get into here. Kisner. So Kisner versus Contreras. I will counter Jack and say that the Dodgers stole 3 bases on Contreras yesterday, and 2 of them were by Freddie Freeman, who hasn't had a multi-steal game this year, but he stole 2 on Kisner. So, yeah, he does call a very good game and made a phenomenal play against the Giants on that little nubber that he went out and got and then came back and got the runner at the plate. That was incredible. Great play. You don't see that play hardly ever. And he's a very good receiver. But, the Dodgers ran on him yesterday and were successful 3 times. So, do they run on Contreras like that? I'm not so sure. Plus, Contreras is a better hitter. He just is better than Kisner. So I'm not so big on that Kisner should be playing every day. You needed to upgrade the lineup, and you needed a little swagger. And that's the thing, is that I love Kiz. He's a big personality in the clubhouse, but Contreras gives him that fire, that edge that they need. They absolutely and desperately need right now. You also talked about moving parts. I think that's a good observation. I think the Cardinals have been very much experimenting and moving around. They use that term flexibility, but is that always good? Is there something to be said about settling things down a little bit? And that's part of the Jordan Walker move to AAA. And I think your point that Walker needed to learn to play the outfield in AAA is also something that they don't mention as much. They talked about his hitting and his approach at the plate, and nobody wants to disrespect Jordan Walker, but maybe that is part of it a little bit. And they want to see the outfielders who can play those positions well, those three incumbents, man those spots where Burleson becomes more of a fourth outfielder, DH type of player. He's not a defensive replacement at all because, as you mentioned, he's not as good of an outfielder as the other guys, but he does have the type of bat and plate coverage I think that they like. I think he has good pitch recognition so far. So good for Alec Burleson. I think he could become not Nolan Gorman caliber hitter, but he's had some runs like Gorman. He can be pretty good. And then you mentioned the fact that O'Neill and Carlson are very good outfielders, and they are. And Carlson especially should be playing center field and not O'Neill, and I agree with that as well. I think that O'Neill starting the season as the center fielder was maybe not the best play. I think that Carlson and Nootbaar are your center fielders. O'Neill can play it, there's no doubt, but why does Tyler O'Neill get to decide, or that he's the number one piece in that outfield? I haven't seen that except for 2021 when he went on that tear. To me, they're all even. I mean, everybody gets a shot at it. So 5 outfielders, now down to 4, and Walker will be back. He'll come back and do it. Jack, I hope I addressed everything. If not, let us know. Let's go to Fred. You're next on KMOX. I love how Jack said I spend too much time on the Cardinals. No, you do not, Jack. You spend just enough time, maybe even more. Fred, how are you?
I'm doing very well. I think Jack and I could be really good friends.
Me too. I kind of want to have a cold one with Jack and just talk it out. I love it.
Yeah, I joined you.
Yeah,
I joined you. My first game was 1959, and going through the 60s, we had a set lineup. Going through the 80s, St. Louis had a set lineup, and you didn't worry too much about your bench players. They got in occasionally, they pinch hit, they pinch ran, but you got to have that set lineup until they prove they can't do it. You can't keep taking them in and out of the lineup. I mean, that was a problem with Colton Wong when Mike Matheny kept kind of jerking him around in and out of the lineup. We play him all the time. He was pretty darn good. But anyway, I have nothing to add to what Jack said, except I think I forget analytics, but I think Tyler O'Neill is an overrated outfielder because I don't think he gets the breaks on the ball, gets breaks to the ball forward and backward, and sometimes laterally. And so I think his fielding average is up because he doesn't get to a lot of balls. That's all I have to say. And Jack hit it all on the head.
Okay, that's an interesting observation as well, and I appreciate that. Good stuff there, most notably the regular lineup. I have always been about a regular lineup. Things have changed in baseball, but it should not be a factor how much a player makes or that you feel like you have to play a player because you've put so much money into the player. Player earns playing time. And if the player is good enough, they play. And if you feel like you have the right combination and you win, you win. It's always about writing down the lineup is what gives me my best chance to win today. But there are some, I know what it was. Jack, the one thing that I missed was he talked about Arenado and Goldschmidt and giving them days off, kind of, moving that around a little bit. We don't always know what goes on in that clubhouse. They don't tell us every little thing. And sometimes, you may have some information that a guy needs a day or you need to play another guy. Unless Goldie and Arenado can't go, I've got him in there every day. That's me. But, they know more than I do of what's going on they know more than all of us than what's going on behind closed doors. And perhaps there was a a method to their madness. But I agree with Jack on that one as well. Okay, so back to the starting lineup. Yes, I mean, when I was growing up, so my team was the teams in the 80s. 82, I could tell you the lineup. 85, I knew it by heart. Coleman, McGee, Herr, Clark, Pendleton, Van Slyke, Ozzie, Porter behind the plate. I mean, they could mix and match that 5 through 8, but it was Coleman, McGee, Herr, Clark every day. And sometimes Ozzie would be closer to the top, but that was it. You knew what you were going to get there, and there is something to be said for that. Let's go to, and Fred, thank you for that call. Let's go to Lee on KMOX. Lee, you're next up. Eventually, I'm going to take a break. Drew, don't worry about it. Have I even taken a break yet? No, I haven't. Okay. Lee, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
I appreciate the old school.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I mean, I don't love what's going on, but I do love talking about it.
Well, I mean, the guy 2 guys ago, Cardinals ought to go pay him because the way I would put it, it's a poorly constructed team managed poorly. And you can get rid of all the players ever since the debacle in the wild card game where you throw a pitcher that has compromised with his hand in your most important game to all the constantly moving guys out of position to where all of a sudden your defense is bad. Given Alcantara and Azzarena, that's management. The guy who's going to be on the radio in a little bit, he's management. And there's going to be a lot of empty seats down there, which hasn't happened around here for a long, long time. And in almost any other city, I would include professional soccer in Europe. If somebody's been a general manager of a team for 15 years and the team's in last place and just fired a manager before that, won 17 games in a row 6 weeks before he got fired, at some level, where's the accountability? Because I don't see it, and the people don't see it. Every time he comes on the radio, they're losing money because they're tired of it. They just don't want to hear it anymore. They're not buying into it. It's like, we're going to believe what we're hearing or what we're watching with our eyes. So, personally, it's the same thing when they brought La Russa in. Instead of bringing some kid who's really the same age as the manager, which generally doesn't sound like all that great an idea no matter who it is, they're going to have to go get somebody that's not a yes man. I've always been convinced they brought this kid in so they didn't have to give Yachty the job because Yachty's going to be tough to control. To me, it strikes me, it's all about the control. So,
Lee, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. The game has changed. It's no longer the manager runs everything. There is a team that runs the team, and the team is led by John Mozeliak, and Ollie Marmol is the field manager. Mozeliak does not make decisions in game, nor does he run the clubhouse, but he is the boss, and there is a team of front office personnel who deliver data on the daily and multiple times daily to that field staff to use that to process that information. So it is a team that works together. It's not a puppet, then they pull strings. I mean, they have to have everything in place. And that person that runs that clubhouse, the manager of the team, has to be someone that has the players' respect. So they were fully in belief that a change was necessary and that manager was going to be able to have the team's respect, but also the knowledge of what the front office was trying to accomplish. And it always starts at the top. Bill DeWitt makes that call for the organization. He approves what John Mozeliak does. Period. End of story. I mean, so I appreciate that call very much. I do need to take a break. It's 10:35. It is Sports on a Sunday Morning, sponsored by Gray Bar. We'll be back. Steve and Kurt, if you want to hang on, we'll get to you. We have Seth, Dave, Jen. They're all next on KMOX.
Cardinals fans, baseball is back.
Down the line! Does it stay fair? You bet! It's a slammer!
Catch every pitch from every St. Louis Cardinals game live with News Radio 1120 KMOX on the free Odyssey app.
That's score! Dylan Carlson.
The voices you know, the team you love.
It is a goner for Arenado.
Your St. Louis Cardinals, your Odyssey. Download the free Odyssey app today.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
There's a notion that powerful corporations hire only the best and brightest lawyers, and it's true. At Underlaw, we've taken on some of the world's largest corporations. We've sat across the table and won. That's why when you're hurt, not just any lawyer will do. Together with our brave clients, we're holding these companies accountable. I'm Jim Onder. At Underlaw, we're making a difference, one case at a time.
Call Onderlaw Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 6189 million. That's 9 all zeros.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jewels on Hampton your first stop. Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
What a beautiful spring. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma from Gamma Tree Experts. Your property value is as much about your landscape as it is your home. The trees and shrubs that grow along with you and your family are valuable assets that deserve care and protection. Call our team of certified arborists to inspect your valuable trees and shrubs today. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, fertilization, or removal, call today at 725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Hey, it's Debbie in Monterey. Have you noticed that for sale signs in your neighborhood have been up for longer than normal? Why? Well, they probably don't have my friend and trusted realtor Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty's name on them, because agent selection matters. And that's why I recommend you call Gloria Liu. I've been telling you about Gloria for years now, and you should call Gloria before you list your home. Gloria has the buyers. More than 2,400 exclusive buyers in her database looking for a home in your neighborhood. Gloria sells twice as fast and for 5% more money on average when compared to other agents. With Gloria, you sell faster and for more money. And Gloria will guarantee upfront in writing that she'll sell your home at your price and your time frame, or she will buy your home herself. Call Gloria Liu today at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888 or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Spring has sprung and we're ready for you at St. Louis Composting. This year, skip the garden center mayhem and conveniently order your compost, garden soil, or mulch for delivery straight to your home. Online at stocompost.com. That's stocompost.com.
KMOX Enter Service Weekend, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
We'll get back to our callers in just a moment, so hang on. Just running through some comments on our Facebook page /Twitch/Twitter/YouTube that we put a stream out on this show, so you can see me in my Kaufman Fund vest right now, sitting in front of a lamp here in the KMOX studio. Kaufman Fund supports veterans and their families. They are a wonderful organization. Let's see. Eddie says, thank you for the show. I appreciate it, Eddie. He says, I wish the Cardinals would play more small ball. Wouldn't hurt. If they had the speed to accomplish that, I'm all for it. Does anybody know when Wainwright would be back? Says Keisha. He'll be back today because he's starting for AAA Memphis against Durham at 4:05 Central Time. It'll be on MILB TV, Minor League Baseball TV. And if you don't catch that, I'm sure my man Kyle Reese will have gifs galore, video galore of Adam Wainwright on Twitter. Eddie also said, do you see any big trades coming? Not yet. Not until teams start to fall out of the race, and the Cardinals will pounce. But the Cardinals need to be in the race for that to happen. Michael says every team in MLB switches their lineup constantly. I do agree with that. There is more of that being seen now. It's a trend around baseball. The other trend is that starters do go shorter and the bullpen takes over a little quicker. And there are more hybrids of sorts in the bullpen, and they kind of manage their bullpen in that way. So, Michael, I appreciate that. Bryce said the coach lost the team. That's something else that Jack might have brought up, did he? That Ollie, maybe, the whole thing with Tyler. My whole take on the Tyler O'Neill thing, I told you guys from the very beginning, is that you put that to bed. The manager is the boss, and when he says something, you do it. I think that going out and doing it publicly was probably in response to trying to get his attention, and perhaps it is something that has been addressed or wanted to be addressed, and he just went out and said, you know what, I'm going to do it this way. And whether you agree with it or not, a lot of people didn't. We'll see if it ends up being effective. I don't think he's lost the team. I think this is still Ollie Marmol's team, and they like him a lot. I hope that addresses some of those. Oh, Michael also said he likes Chip Carey. I said he's no Danny Mac, but I think he's been good, says Michael. Well, Chip's great, and Danny Mac's one of the best as well. Just two outstanding guys. Love them both. Let's go back to the phone calls and Steve. Let's go to Steve. He's been waiting the longest, Drew. Line 5. How are you, Steve?
Hey, Tom, I'm up in Peoria for a trade show. It's a little windy. I'm driving up. But
all good.
I reached out to you, and I really appreciate you doing this. I reached out to you of LinkedIn of all things, and we talked back and forth about Innsbruck, but I really appreciate you doing this. If you give me just a few minutes, and then I kind of want to just lay out my concerns, and then you give your expert answer. So I want to forewarn you, it's not a lot of positive stuff. Cardinals are the classiest organization in all of sports. Unquestionable, in my opinion, what they do with the size market historically and presently. All that being said, John Mozeliak owns this. He ran off a manager of the year, Mike Schilt, and this is his guy. My impression of Ollie Marmol, I'm a 57-year-old man. I'm in upper management for a large sport manufacturing company. You got to be a little humble when you come into that position. And he comes across as stoic. He comes across as arrogant. He's made horrible game decisions. His calling out of O'Neill was absurd this early in the season. Everything I've heard about O'Neill, and I've got some friends that are inside the Cardinal organization, said that O'Neill is one of the classiest, most friendly players on the entire roster.
Great guy.
This team has been stripped of all of its veteran. Obviously, Pujols and Molina, they got to retire at some point. But now we got some pitching coach that I guess he's some analytical guy. He's probably never thrown a pitch in his entire life. We've got Ollie the Minion Marmol in there. I think he's lost the team. I think the Cardinals have been trying to recover money from COVID for the last 3 or 4 years, and it all comes down to how much money you want to make. They've made promises for 2 years now, and they have not delivered. They've looked the fans straight in the face, and I feel like I've been lied to. I don't know what they said to Arenado, but even my wife said, God, I would be furious if I was him. They've made a promise to deliver on a team, and they have not done it. This pitching staff, with Adam Wainwright, God bless him, as your supposed front ace, are you kidding me? And none of these pitchers outside of Montgomery, Mike and Michaelis have really are 1 through 5 in my opinion. What the Cardinals expected to do was to milk the fans along, win this what has been traditionally a weak division, and then go get some pitching and say, hey, maybe we'll win a series. They have not gone for it in a long, long time. And Ollie Marmol is not Tony La Russa. Ollie Marmol isn't even Mike Schilt, who's put in his time with his organization. And he sure as heck wasn't Mike Matheny, who played all those years in the majors and did his time as a Cardinal. And they've created a situation where you have a vacuum in that clubhouse. There are no veteran leadership in there whatsoever. You have just by attrition, you've lost all the veteran voices in that clubhouse, and they put out a slop pitching staff And I agree with what the gentleman said earlier. They've got players playing out of position. If we've had players like Rosarina performing well and the guy down at for the Marlins, that's on John Mozeliak. That's on John Mozeliak's buffoonery and giving extension to guys like DeYoung and the things that he's done in the past. He's got to own this. This
Okay.
is not acceptable. And
Steve,
they're getting what they deserve.
You came. I appreciate it, Steve. Came right back to how he started, and then there he goes. Boy, coming out hot. I mean, that's I think a little dramatic, but he's making some points and hard points. This is a frustrated Cardinals fan base. Some of them, I think, some of them are waiting, but there's a portion that feel that. I mean, he's feeling strong. I want to get some more calls though. Let's go to Kurt. Kurt on KMOX. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little old school with the set lineup. O'Neill left, Carlson center, and maybe, platoon Burleson and Newbar, but, like you said. And, yeah, definitely that Ali Marmol hire. I think that, I don't know how many people got to be on board with that. I mean, even after last year, I don't agree. He should get the boot. You got guys, managers out there, like the guy said. Somebody like Bruce Bochy. Look at him. He's in Texas, I think now, and that's a weak division, but they're going to make the playoffs. I'm telling you. There are guys out there. I don't know if they didn't want to pay anybody or what, but that's one point. And the other point is the young Paul. I mean, what do you think, man? Is he going to be on the team all year or not? What does he have to do to get released?
Well, I appreciate the call, Kurt. If he's swinging the bat, well, he's going to play because they do like his defense. Yesterday, he went 0 for 3. His average dips down to 348, but he had been on a nice little run, hit a couple of bombs. DeYoung right now showing that he can swing without lifting that front leg and throwing himself out of whack. He's got good balance. His hands get through the zone really quickly. He's got a pair of home runs. Guys hitting 348. I think they're willing to let it ride for a little while longer with some other middle infielders moving in. Make no mistake about it. Your shortstop for the future is Mason Wynn. Mason Wynn's the shortstop of the future, and he is a star. Period. End of story. Let's go to Seth. Seth is on KMOX radio.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
You got it.
All I got to say is I'm not panicking. I'm not mad. I actually love this. We've been needing this for years. I love that we're in last place. I hope we stay that way all year because the front office won't make any moves. Maybe it'll put pressure on them. All I got to say is fans get ready for Rich Hill to be the starter we get at the deadline because this team's a joke.
Oh, Rich Hill. Yeah, I don't know. But Seth, thank you. This is also a segment of the Cardinals fans that root for them to lose, which I don't obviously agree with at all. But they are like, well, if there's it gets to the point for them that if there's not going to be change unless they lose. So I hope that they fail kind of thinking, which I don't agree with, but I do appreciate the call, Seth. Let's go before a break. Let's talk to Jen. Jen is on KMOX.
Hi.
Hey, Jen.
Thanks for taking my call. First off, I just wanted to say your restaurant guide to Jupiter was like our go-to years ago.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
So it was amazing. So thank you for that. We just had a ball trying everything. Yeah, I'm a loyal fan. I think it just seems the Cardinal way isn't working anymore. It seems like the Cardinal way is kind of, we're going to keep doing what we're doing, so to speak, even though we're in a not as long as Chicago and Boston, everybody, but it's been a while. And it just kind of seems like the soft NL Central we can get by with kind of testing things out isn't really working anymore. And we try to be a reasonable, loyal fan, but it's just kind of like if I'm going to put in all the time and money going down to Busch and prices are going up, but yet, it just kind of seems like at times they're not holding up their end of the bargain to put the best product on the field consistently day in and day out. And I'm just wondering, do we have the time to trust hunches that Dylan Carlson's going to deliver in the ninth when our continuing deficit, we're in last place right now? Can we afford to not put in Gorman and take a shot versus going with Carlson, like the better matchup?
Yep.
So
fair enough.
I'm just wondering about that. And, just the pitching, just continuing to go into each season with a hope and a prayer versus, I love Miles Michaelis, but I don't think he's a number one, more like a number three. And, Mozeliak said it. He said, continuing to do the same thing over and over again is insanity. And I just wonder if he's realizing how much of that he actually continues to do.
Yeah, he is. I got to take a break here, Jen, but I really appreciate the call. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. They are trying to change some things and trying to do some things that maybe are a little bit different. And it's not going to be, they're going to have to get on a hot streak, and those things, sometimes you can't just make it happen. It's just got to happen. They feel like they have the personnel to do it. But I just had a friend text me. He said, you just said that some of the fan base is frustrated. I disagree. The entire fan base is frustrated. I can't speak for everybody at the same time, but I do feel it. I think that most of the fan base is frustrated. How about that? And then there is a group that they just enjoy going to the ball game and having a hot dog. I mean, they're not, if you're listening to this show right now, you're a fan, you are into it and you understand it and you watch it all the time and you're frustrated. And that's why we're taking some phone calls to talk about it. I do appreciate the call. Jen, we'll take a quick break, come back with more after this.
Tamara Green, a.k.a. Strawberry, was a beautiful, young, exotic dancer and mother of 3 who was gunned down months after she was connected to a wild party at the Detroit mayor's mansion. The party's rumor, her murderous fact. Who Killed Strawberry is Odyssey's riveting new true crime podcast. 20 years later, Who Killed Strawberry is still a mystery, although there are lots of theories about why she was killed. Was it connected to the party, to a grudge, or to something else? Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Broadcasting from the Underline Three Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. Did you know that how happy you are could be related to how well you hear? According to the Better Health Institute, research shows that unaddressed hearing loss is associated with depression. Studies also show that people with hearing loss who use hearing aids often have fewer depressive symptoms, they have greater social engagement, and have improved quality of life. Therefore, having your hearing tested by an experienced audiologist is extremely important. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I recommend you contact Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. Dr. Bosler is very approachable. She has a doctorate in audiology from the University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana. She carries the best performing hearing aids, and Dr. Bosler is an expert on the latest technology. Make an appointment today at one of Dr. Colleen Bosler's 3 St. Louis area offices, 636-441-7470, the Audiology Center, STL.com.
Hi, this is Ken Newbold at Newbold Toyota. If you're worried about gas prices, Toyota has the most models of hybrid electrics in the industry. From the best-selling Camry to the best-selling RAV4, we've got it all. So come see us. That's Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Pixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
You know the Midwest Money slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? This is Johnny Rabbit. Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. Silver and gold, coins, sterling silver, flags, medals, daggers, and more. Not sure what you have? Bring your collectibles to someone you can trust. Midwest Money, at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hills. You'll be happy you did.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. Get some reusable bags for the grocery store and recycle paper, bottles, and cans to make every day Earth Day. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billy can win.
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
All right, we do have some callers waiting on the line. Dave in Springfield, Illinois, James in Jefferson City. I will get to both of those after the news if you can hang on or return after the break. We are going to take a break for the news here at the top of the hour. I think these calls have been very good. I can't let people go on and on forever, so I'm sorry about jumping from caller to caller, but I want to get as many people as I can on to talk and to air out how they feel, and I appreciate all of that. We will take a quick time out for the news, and we will come back on Sports on a Sunday Morning, sponsored by Gray Bar, Lutz Fan and Steel at 11:15, John Mozeliak at 11:30, and Ollie Marmol at 11:45.
I love having a finished basement, but I sure did have Foundation Recovery Systems over to help me protect my investment. Hey, it's Julie Tristan. It is no fun having leaking walls, wet carpet, puddling water, or mold. It's actually every homeowner's nightmare to invest in creating the perfect space only for your hard work and valuables to be ruined. So have Foundation Recovery Systems come over. They'll check out your basement. They can talk to you about encapsulating your crawl space. Maybe that's what you need. Just making your safe space for your valuable home appliances and even a storage space. It would make sure everything is safe and everything is working really well. They're not going to sell you a Band-Aid for your basement and your foundation. They'll work with you to find the permanent solution for your basement so you can stay dry year round. Visit foundationrecoverysystems.com for a free inspection and no pressure quote today. Their experts will inspect your whole home, find the root of the issue, fix it once and for all. That's foundationrecoverysystems.com. There's a reason they've been around for so long.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. Over the past decade, Coalition Life has served thousands of women in crisis pregnancies, helping to save the lives of the children that they carry. Help us build a better community while also reducing or completely eliminating your Missouri taxes with a 70% tax credit. A $1,000 donation today to help these women could cost you as little as $141 out of pocket. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com. Thank you.
Carol Daniel for the Doctor's Doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Take a look around you, your wife, or the highway right in front of you. We use our eyes to take in the world around us, but if you have a disease of the eye like glaucoma or itchy eye, or like my husband, you suffer from dry eye, seeing the world around you is a little more difficult. Dry eye can impact your vision at night. It can cause burning of the eye. Call Ophthalmology Associates at 314-966-5000 to set up your appointment today. I was so glad to go see the Doctors at Ophthalmology Associates at 12990 Manchester Road. What a friendly staff and a thorough exam by Dr. Greg Birdie. There's a reason they're called the Doctors because they've treated more than 250 doctors, more than any other practice. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer, experts in the diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. Ophthalmology Associates. Call 314-966-5000 or learn more online at youridoc.com.
We go where you go. 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
Scott, why should you never trust stairs?
I don't know. Why?
Because they're always up to something.
Very funny. And why not let contractors know that for that set of steps or the rest of the house, we have carpet, luxury vinyl, ceramic tile, carpet tile, laminate, and sheet vinyl all in stock at low, low prices.
2 locations, 7301 North Lindbergh in Hazelwood, Missouri, and 1851 West US Highway 50 in O'Fallon, Illinois. Open 7 days a week.
Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy Flooring.
KMOX KECK HD2 St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals. KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Wendy Gillette in New York. A suspect remains on the run after a mass shooting in Texas that left 5 people dead, including an 8-year-old boy, and 3 hurt. Correspondent Matt Piper reports.
San Jacinto County Sheriff Greg Capers says authorities are searching for 38-year-old Francisco Oropeza following the overnight shooting in the town of Cleveland, about 45 miles north of Houston.
He could be anywhere now. We located the device that we were looking for, found it abandoned.
He says what they found was the suspect's cell phone and some clothing, and investigators believe they have possession of the rifle used in the shooting.
14 people are hospitalized after the roof of a home near Ohio State University collapsed. Columbus Fire Battalion Battalion Chief Steve Martin.
A few people that were trapped, I believe, were probably unpinned. It was like their leg was caught under some of the structure, and some of the other students lifted that off.
More severe storms are hitting parts of the east. National Weather Service meteorologist Mark Chenard.
So there is a low-end isolated tornado threat, both in Florida and then also in the eastern Carolinas into southeast Virginia.
A humanitarian crisis is looming because of fierce fighting in Sudan, now in its third week. Sudanese citizen Marwan Gandor fled to Abu Dhabi.
Had shortage of food, water, and power, so they start to invade homes.
Tens of thousands attended an open-air mass in Budapest, Hungary, with Pope Francis presiding. The Pope urged Hungarians to help others. More than 1 million Ukrainian refugees have crossed into the country. The House passed a bill on the debt ceiling last week, but it has little chance in the Senate. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders spoke about the Republican-backed legislation on CNN.
What they want to do is to cut programs for nutrition, for education, for health care.
There's a recall to tell you about involving General Mills bleached and unbleached flour. CBS's Linda Kenyon has the details.
The recall was issued after the company discovered salmonella while sampling a 5-pound bag. The recall includes 2, 5, and 10-pound bags of gold medal flour with a best if used by date of March 27, 2024 and March 28, 2024. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say people should not consume raw products made with this flour.
The stock markets will start a new month tomorrow after getting a boost on Friday. The Dow added 272 points. This is CBS News.
Streamline how you hire with Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Awarded 2023 Large Market Radio Station of the Year by the Missouri Broadcasters Association, KMOX.
At 11:03, we have partly cloudy skies and 52 degrees downtown at the Arch. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow. Our top story this hour: a new day, new legal actions by the St. Louis Circuit Attorney and Missouri's Attorney General. This follows Circuit Judge Michael Noble calling Kim Gardner's office a rudderless ship of chaos and found grounds to hold her in indirect criminal contempt of court.
It appears that Ms. Gardner has complete indifference and a conscious disregard for the judicial process.
Friday, Gardner's attorney filed a motion to have Judge John Trubisky removed from presiding over the quo warranto action. Then Saturday, AG Andrew Bailey filed a motion against having Judge Trubisky removed because he has already heard the arguments of the quo warranto. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young says Missouri Supreme Court will make the decision.
From a tactical standpoint, since Judge Trubisky has already signaled that he is not inclined to dismiss this case, then it doesn't harm Kim Gardner's position in any way to do a Hail Mary and say, well, I'll just request a different judge, and it can't get any worse than what I currently have.
Young says the flaw in that, though, is that the Missouri Supreme Court will know Kim Gardner is trying a stall and delay tactic. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
A 17-year-old male has been arrested for Thursday's shooting death of 30-year-old skateboarder Darius Mullins near Kena Plaza in downtown St. Louis. Police say they're looking into getting the crime charged on the federal level. KMOX political analyst John Hancock told Total Information this morning he thinks that's a good idea given the turmoil surrounding Gardner's office.
Using a gun elevates it to a federal crime, and there is some hope of justice, at least, in this tragic incident that will come out of the feds being able to prosecute it.
St. Louis County Police say a suspect's in custody following Saturday morning's fatal shooting on the Maplewood Metrolink train. The victim was sent to the hospital where he died. Police say it started with an argument between the suspect and the victim. Bi-State's General Manager of Security, Kevin Scott, credits the quick arrest with Metro's partnership with St. Louis County Police. One of the St. Louis region's largest African-American church congregations is celebrating its 100th birthday this weekend. Over the years, Prince of Peace's ministry in Berkeley has grown to include 33 outreach efforts.
We have boys mentoring. We have outreach that we do from clothes, community activities that has certainly been a great beacon of light in the city of Berkeley.
Senior pastor Willie Kilpatrick talking to Fox 2 News. All right, your weather forecast for this afternoon. Windy conditions and increasing clouds. A shower is possible later on with a high of 59. Overnight's low 47, and then tomorrow a high of 64, 66 on Tuesday. It is 53 in St. Peter's, 54 in Florissant, 52 downtown at the Gateway Arch. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
This is the Graybar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win. Billikens win.
Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Appreciate you joining us. It's 11:07. Sports on a Sunday morning is sponsored by Graybar, and the phone lines have been open the entire show. 314-436-7900, 800-925-1120. We've gotten a lot of great calls, both from all over. In fact, these next two callers, one from Springfield, Illinois, and one from Jefferson City, shows you just in this region where Cardinals Nation stretches, but we're hearing them from all over. A lot of frustration about the club and some that are trying to come up with solutions as well. Let's go to Dave in Springfield, Illinois. You are first up as we come out of the news as promised. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Tom. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
Well, I'm a 60-year Cardinal fan. I go clear back to when Bob Bragg and Bob Burns used to host the show, and just loved it at that time. And by the way, I love your show. Love you as the sports director there.
Thank you.
Also, I enjoy when you're on the Champaign station here.
Oh, WDWS, yeah.
I listen to that. I know the people there love you as well.
Thanks.
Let me just share with you a couple of thoughts. I think the guys are all good guys. I know nothing personal towards any of them, but I expected what's happening this season. To be honest with you, I expect this to happen last year. I personally think that Ollie Marmol is in over his head. And then when the manager just went blank from
Mike
his
Schultz.
name. Mike Schultz, thank you. I loved it when he was here. Sure, he didn't go by the analytics, but you know what? He won, and the players loved him. And I just hated to see him go, and the way he was, especially way it was all handled. And also a frustration that I have with this year's team. I'm big. I go back to the '60s Cardinals they manufactured runs as the '80s Cardinals did as well. Manufacture runs instead of always going for a launch angle and trying to hit home runs on almost every play. It sure seems like occasionally you get guys that will try a drag bunt or whatever, and that's kind of neat. But I like getting a hit, moving them over, sacrifice fly, driving them in. And, yesterday a manufactured run or two, would have won the game for us, But one of my big frustrations this year so far is that it happened again last night, and that is you got O'Neill, DeYoung, and Kisner, 6, 7, 8 in the lineup, or whatever numbers they were. Strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. I mean, and personally, I'm not a big fan. I wouldn't mind seeing, even though I like the guys personally. I mean, my perspective is DeYoung and O'Neill. Bring the young kids up and let them play. They can't do any worse as far as striking out, and they can like the person we just sent down.
Well, Dave, I appreciate. I want to get to some other calls before we take the break, but you're talking about Jordan Walker, who was just sent down. I think that would have been interesting, very intriguing to see Kershaw against Jordan Walker, although Walker's had some trouble with some breaking stuff. He was stacking righties to face the lefty is what he was doing instead of having Nolan Gorman in there. But then, as Jen pointed out last hour, instead of Gorman coming off the bench, he sticks with Dylan Carlson because of his defense out in center field, et cetera. Let's go to James in Jefferson City on KMOX.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I think I got a couple of years on the previous caller, and I was going to give a shout out to Bob Burns because this brings back memories. Hey, I was at in 1964, the pennant game, the last game of the season. I was at the '66 All-Star game. I was at Bob Gibson sitting behind home plate, box seats. Bob Gibson's last game he pitched, Pete LeCoq deal. Just want to shout out to my favorite team is the '64 World Champions. Dick Grote died earlier this week, so I just wanted to. He was a big part of the '64 team, and my frustration with the Cardinals is not. It's a little bit different take this morning than everybody else's. I'm frustrated with the watered down, all the rule changes the last several years. I saw the best decade of baseball, the 1960s. The 66 All-Star game, I think, had almost 20 Hall of Famers in it. They weren't in the Hall of Fame at the time. The starting lineup for the National League had 7 that are in the Hall of Fame. So my frustration is with all the rule changes. It's watered down, larger bases this year, a pitch clock. That's my frustration. If you want to comment on it, I'd appreciate it. I'm not trying to start an argument here, but it's just I have lost interest in the game of baseball.
You don't like the way that they're tinkering with the game. I thank you for the call, James.
I'll tell you what I don't like. Still there?
Yeah.
You can't slide into second or taking second or the shortstop out. You can't block the plate. You can't pitch inside. I mean, it used to be, you could pitch inside. The game was kind of
police
themselves. There's just so many changes, and probably we had 7 innings for double headers 2 years ago. I mean, are they going to come up with a 10-run rule for 5 innings here one of these days?
It's actually been talked about. Isn't that crazy? Thanks for the. Yeah, I appreciate it, James. I want to jump to one more call, but my comment on that is the game does go through changes. What I think they're trying to get back to is the game that you enjoyed, which was a brisk played game that moved along in 2 to 2.5 hours. And that's what they were trying to get back to because these games have gone on and on and on forever. What they can't change is the fact that money has entered the game and pitchers and players are making a lot more than they used to. And they, aren't going to have a pitcher go like Bob Gibson used to go because they are an asset and they don't want to run their arm out. Plus, their entire career, they have been monitored from when they were young, really. So it's not like they are doing something that isn't uniform across baseball now. But that doesn't mean that your frustrations aren't valid. I mean, it's a different game, and the game continues to change. They are trying to chase the non-baseball fan. They're trying to pull in people who are watching other sports and younger people and trying to grow the game in that way. And whether they're successful in that or not, we shall see. Let me take one more before we go, and that would be Debbie. Debbie, you're on KMOX, and I got to take a break.
Okay. Hi. Good morning.
Hey.
I'm a longtime Cardinal fan, and I'm just hearing a lot about how poorly the Cardinals are doing. And granted, they are. I have hardly been able to watch one single game in its entirety this season thus far. My question is, there's always the finger pointing back to the manager and what he is doing incorrectly as far as managing the team. But my bigger question is the manager really involved in who are the players on the team? Isn't that John Mozeliak? Isn't he the one who brings on the team members? Isn't he the one who recruits or whoever those persons are? I would like to have some accountability at a higher level for bringing the players on, not always finger pointing back to the manager.
All right, good call, Debbie. And I got to take a break because Lutz Pfannenstiel is on the line. We're going to take a quick time out and get to him, but it does start at the top in every organization. It starts at the very top. They bring in the philosophy and the direction they want to go. John Mozeliak follows what Bill DeWitt wants to do. He executes it. His team executes what John wants to do. The field manager is chosen by John, and the field manager is Oliver Marmol, and he decides how the players are aligned when it comes to the playing time. But Ollie doesn't chase sliders, and Ollie doesn't make an error in the field. It does, some responsibility goes on the players as well. So my point is everybody should be held accountable for their actions in a baseball organization, but it does start at the very top. It always does, and then comes down from there. So everybody does play a part in this, and the Cardinals have a lot of time to correct themselves. But right now, through 28 games, they're 10-18. As Bill Parcells once famously said, you are what your record says you are. We will take a quick time out. We'll come back, talk some soccer with Lutz right after this.
What a beautiful spring. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma from Gamma Tree Experts. Your property value is as much about your landscape as it is your home. The trees and shrubs that grow along with you and your family are valuable assets that deserve care and protection. Call our team of certified arborists to inspect your valuable trees and shrubs today. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, fertilization, or removal, call today at 725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit, and for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
St. Louis City SC sporting director is Lutz Pfannenstiel, and he joins us at this time every Sunday. Good morning, Lutz. How are you?
Good morning. I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right as well. It's been a tough night for St. Louis sports, including City losing 2-1. Of course, there's a big picture here, and that's the fact that City is off to a terrific start. It's a great organization. You're packing the house. There's a great vibe around the team, but you want to win them, and I know that that's not the best way to end the night. Even though it's more than the score, you want to be on top.
Yeah, it's a bit like a reality check, I would say. Welcome to reality, because yesterday was simply not good enough. We have to be very honest about that to ourselves. I think, to be fair to Portland, they deserved that 3 points, even though they gave us the opportunity to come back into the game to get that late 1-1 equalizer. And that's the moment, I think, which shows you're a top team or you're not a top team. This is when you need to manage the game, when you need to pick something up. We didn't do that. We got sloppy again. And in the end of the day, it just was one of these days which you want to forget, which I try to pull out some positives. Half of the night, to be honest, Tom, I didn't find that much. And I think now it's time to put the heads down, to get back to basics, to work hard, because also the way we performed yesterday, when it came to the mentality, I was not happy about that, because at least you need to work as hard as possible to try to get something. And if you have a bad day, everybody has a bad day. But for me, yesterday, I was very disappointed.
The obvious for me right out of the gate is no Klaus, because you can't take your eyes off of him. He makes things happen, and when he's not scoring, it seems like he's creating opportunities for others. How did you think they responded without Klaus, and what is the status of Klaus?
Yeah, I think that's easy. I mean, this makes it sound to me like we have to find excuses for a bad performance. No, yeah, of course you want to have Klaus in the team, and of course he makes our team better. But we need to be able to compensate one player. Maybe we will have a day where we have 2 or 3 of our top players missing. That still doesn't mean we can get hammered around. Another one was yesterday. It's easy to blame the referee. Yeah, I mean, maybe the penalty wasn't the penalty, and maybe the referee calls were not always in our favor. But that's another excuse, which is very easy to point at certain things. But it's more about the team performance and what we did yesterday as a group. So, of course, I hope that Klaus is back as soon as possible. I am sure that he will miss at least one more game the next week in Dallas, and then hopefully he will come back. On the other hand, Tom, we don't want to risk him too early, because it's a very long season. It's only match day 10 out of 34. So it's not worth kind of pushing him too hard to get back, and then we're missing him for even a longer time. But yeah, I do agree with that from your side and also from fan side that with Klaus, a very important hazard up there is missing. But if you're looking at the last 15, 20 minutes when we brought on our 4 subs, Thomas Ostrak, who came on, who made the goal brilliantly, then Celia Pompey, who came on, who finished it. So also Jensen and Jackson, who came on, 2 young players. All these 4 guys did well at the cup game during the week. They came on, and I think they brought a breath of fresh air in the game as well. So it's more the senior players which have to really reflect on that game yesterday.
There is so much more to the game than one player or a collection of players, because when the ball is in the air, that is the key, isn't it? One of the keys is who's going to touch that ball first and who's going to get that second ball. It seemed to me that you weren't able to get a lot of those second balls.
100%. Very well spotted. I think not just the second balls. Portland got most of them. Our interceptions, our tackles, our individual one-on-ones. Portland got more of that. And if the way we play, when it comes to our playing style, I told you many times how we play, how we want to play, that was not really that visible yesterday, because that's exactly our game. We need to win second balls and we need to win the duels. And Portland wanted it more yesterday. Let's be honest about that. They came out, they played an ugly game, they stayed deep, they wasted a lot of time early on, but that's exactly what we can expect from in the future. When a team comes here into our stadium, that they will do exactly that. Minnesota did it, and they beat us on a penalty. Now Portland did it, and they basically also beat us on a penalty. And that will be exactly the way to find the balance between offense and defense, not to give too many chances away. So, yeah, the honeymoon is over. We know that now. The start, nobody can take away the great start we had. But I always said that the season is very long. It's not just a good start. You need to be consistent, good. And I talked a lot about we want to have a fortress here. Now, yeah, the way we played yesterday, it doesn't look to me like a fortress from our side. The fans were great, but we need to be better.
Somebody asked me recently on a podcast, what do you love most about a game at City? And I said, I love the beginning. I do like when I watch the teams warm up, the anthem, and then you start the game. When the match begins, I like to see who has the energy advantage. And that's my favorite part of the game because I get a read on what's happening. And they had an early, I felt like, jump on you. How do you change energy in a game, Lutz? What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, not just in the first half, but also in the second half.
Yeah.
They came out with higher energy. And this was, if you think back a few weeks ago against Cincinnati, it was exactly the opposite. You had the feeling we coming at them straight away and they will score it. In the cup on the weekend, on the midweek, it was just the same. Yesterday, I sometimes do understand it in the first half. You come out and you try to settle the game down. You try to get a little bit of an overview and start to play your game. But when we come out from the second half, after the halftime talk, that is normally our moment when we have to be buzzing, when we have to be out there to really, really work the opponent, to stretch the opponent, to fight. And yesterday, Portland beat us with our own weapons. They did what we normally do, and that is why they walked away with 3 points.
Lutz Pfannenstiel is with us on KMOX. You'll be on the road next time out after you play this one in front of another big crowd, big crowd. This is actually 6 consecutive sellouts in all competition for City. Now you go to Dallas. How is FC Dallas? What do you anticipate in that matchup?
Yeah, now three away games coming up. Dallas, Chicago in the league, and Chicago in the cup as well. So obviously, we now need to regroup this week. We need to sit down. We need to do a lot of analyzing about yesterday's game, what we can do better. We already showed that we can do it better in the past. So as I said before, it's back to basics, back to focus on our strengths. And Dallas is a team. They are. Well, I wouldn't say that's a team who plays ever for the championship, but they They have good young players. They have a great academy. They have lots of homegrown players. They play some good technical football. So it's definitely a very difficult game. Different team, also from a physical strength like Portland. But when we flying to Dallas, similar situation like I told you a few weeks ago about Seattle. We can't expect St. Louis turns up somewhere and everybody is scared of us and lies down and we take the points. We need to work it. We need to really play our game to walk away with a result. And that's what we're going to work hard for during the week and try to do things better next week and hopefully have a positive result.
Diego Gigliani comes in from City Football Group to take over as president and general manager. Lutz, what can you tell me about Diego and his experience?
Yeah, I had a few talks with him by now over Zoom and telephone. Very experienced sports administrator. When it comes to the business side with Man City, or the City Group, you don't really have to introduce the way they're doing things because that's highly professional, close to perfection. So I think that we as a club, we gain a lot there of his experience. When it comes to the business side, he's definitely world class, and I'm looking forward for him to come.
Lutz Pfannenstiel, sporting director, with us every Sunday at 11:15. We appreciate these moments very much. Thank you for taking the time. You'll get back to work and get after it as you head to Dallas. Good luck, and thank you again.
Thanks, Tom. Have a nice weekend.
You too. St. Louis City SC drops one yesterday to Portland 2-1. Back at it on the road. Thanks to Lutz for always being with us. The president of baseball operations for the St. Louis Cardinals is John Mozeliak. He joins us live next at 11:30. It's 11:27. This is Sports on a Sunday Morning, sponsored by Gray Bar.
Now, Y98 presents 90 and 60, a look back at the St. Louis City match against the Portland Timbers. Sponsored by Ponce Health Sciences University, creating new pathways to careers in healthcare.
Ball sprung for Bully into the city box. Frank Bully, oh! It's Roman Berkey, a diving save. Nelson will get it loose. Rain pouring. Vander ready. Hesitates, fires, and puts it in. Knocked to Alm, now sent into the box. Ostrak to the end line, center it. Hey! We're tied! Celio Pompeu! Merging with it on the attack here. Moreno into the penalty arc, taps it outside, a quick shot to goal. Oh no. Portland Timbers 2, St. Louis City SC 1.
This has been 90 and 60, presented by Ponce Health Sciences University. This coming Saturday, it's St. Louis City against FC Dallas. Pre-game at 7, kick at 7:30 on Y98 St. Louis.
Aspiring to be a doctor? Didn't score well on the MCAT? Gain all the confidence you need to succeed at Ponce Health Sciences University. PHSU, west of City Park on the corner of Jefferson and Market, prepares students for every aspect of a medical career. A Master of Sciences in Medical Science degree and MSMS from Ponce prepares students for the coursework, the time commitment, and the rigor for a future in healthcare. Learn more at stlouis.psm.edu. That's stlouis.psm.edu.
Can you imagine a rainbow of flowers?
In a crystal blue sky.
Filled with music.
And all your friends are there.
And everyone is laughing with joy.
And the whole world is clean and sparkling and singing like Pavarotti.
Put on your wings and fly.
Invite us to your house.
We'll only be there a few minutes.
Our clean and shiny trucks haul away your distractions.
And leave your home sparkling with joy.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Everyone deserves to get home safely, even in the most dangerous of jobs. But sometimes companies cut corners, leaving their employees at risk. For Onder Law, it's not just about getting you the money you deserve. It's about improving workplace safety. That's how we can prevent injuries and save lives. I'm Jim Onder. At Onder Law, we're not only on your side, we're by your side.
Call Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 6189 million. That's 9 all zeros.
They call them the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. They've treated more than 250 doctors. That's more than any other practice. So you know you can trust them. I do too. Had my visit with Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, and he went over all the things that I'm dealing with and said, you could get LASIK, but you don't really need it right now. And I appreciated that, the honesty that it's a procedure maybe down the road I could utilize, but wasn't something he was going to try to sell me at the moment. moment. And he and Dr. Birdie are cornea surgeons and expert in the diagnosis of treatment of dry eye, allergy eyes, cataracts, macular degeneration. And I know if I need LASIK down the road, I can go right to them and get it at Ophthalmology Associates. They will take care of you. Get an appointment today. Doctors Malhotra, Birdie, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer are there for you. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com. 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates on Manchester, a half-mile west of 270. youridoc.com.
Katie Collier, owner of Katie's Pizza, turned a Kickstarter campaign into a pizza legacy. She shares her story on our latest podcast, PNC C-Speak, the language of executives. During COVID, Katie's Pizza continued to beat the odds, creating a thriving frozen food business and now working on a third location. PNC C-Speak shares the stories and innovative approaches of successful business leaders to give you ideas that spark growth in your business. Listen today at KMOX.com/PNC C-Speak. PNC C-Speak, the language of executives.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
11:32. Welcome back to the show. Cardinal baseball coming your way at 2:15, 3:10 first pitch. Noah Syndergaard against Jake Woodford as the Cardinals tried to salvage a game in this 3-game set in Los Angeles. Joining us is the Cardinals president of baseball operations, John Mozeliak. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Tommy. How are you?
Doing well. The Cardinals right now, 10-18, 10 games out in the NL Central and coming off a 1-0 loss to the Dodgers. Some positive things did happen in that game, and I do want to start with that. By the way, Ollie Marmol, the Cardinals manager, just for listeners, is joining us right after Mo. He'll be with us at 11:45. So, yeah, I'll separate some of the game questions and John Mozeliak front office roster type questions so that we don't repeating ourselves. But I do want to start with the positives from yesterday, and that was the fact that another starting pitcher gave you a good outing. Now you've had back-to-back with Miles Mikolas and then Jordan Montgomery. What did you think of Monty?
Well, I thought he pitched really well. Unfortunately, you hate to waste a good start. And, I think you look at the first month of this season, it has not gone as planned. We can probably take a stab at many different theories on why, but, you are where you are. And clearly we need to do something different. And so as I look at thankfully finishing this 10-day road trip, I think that's a blessing just to get back to St. Louis and maybe be able to hit the reset button a little bit and then get into a more normal pattern of home for a week, on the road for a week type of thing. But it's been a tough home. I mean, there's no denying it. Haven't played great baseball. We've found different ways to lose, which is always frustrating because then it's much more difficult to just pin it down to one thing. I mean, I'm not oblivious to what people are saying. They feel like our starting pitching is not good. I feel it's a little bit unfair because when you look at the month, of course, that series against Atlanta, clearly, when you're giving up a 2 or 3 spot every first inning of a game and you're playing in a deficit mode, that's frustrating. And I think, that was not good. But I think overall our starting pitching has been competitive. And yet when we do get good starting pitching, we're not hitting or we're not scoring or we give up late runs in a game. And when you look back at even just this most recent trip, there were times where, we had games in hand and found ways to lose them, whether it was, a defensive lapse or bullpen couldn't hold lead. And so I get the frustration that's out there in public domain. And I assure everybody that's listening this morning, I'm equally frustrated. And I assure you that Ollie and our staff were working tirelessly to try to figure out a way to change this pattern, try to get us into a more winning routine, if you will, and get us back on track. And candidly, there's a ton of baseball left to be played. So I think the worst thing we can do is just sort of put our heads in the sand and bury ourselves and, think we're done for the year, because we're not. And we know we can address some things. We know we can clean some things up, and we're on it.
making changes and not sweeping drastic changes, but making changes along the way is something you're absolutely doing. The Jordan Walker move, was that behind some of that? You doing something a little different, not only trying to get him right, but trying to create some consistency in your lineup?
The answer is yes. Touching on Walker, I think that the biggest thing for him is, we think he's a future elite talent. We think you talk about prospects. We know he's a prospect. We know he's one of the best in baseball. But one of the things he was doing was he just kept pounding the ball in the ground. And that's not sustainable at the major league level. And more importantly, we found it very difficult for him to work on things at the major league level because it's a hard game to have to practice something. You hear us talk all the time about, having the ability to make adjustments. You think about a guy like Paul Goldschmidt. He's making adjustments every day, but this isn't like overhauls. Jordan needs to learn how to lift the ball, and he then also has to understand how to handle the breaking pitches. And there's sort of two rules of thought on breaking pitches. One is you learn to hit them or you learn to take them. But either way, you're recognizing spin. And so for him, that was just something that you could see a lot, the pattern of him seeing a lot more spin up here. And so now we just want him to work on it. I know we'll see Jordan Walker again at some point this season. And, my fingers are crossed that things go well for him down there. And it's a shorter stay than a longer one. With regard to trying to get some rhythm in our outfield, that's exactly what we're trying to do. And hopefully we can get that pattern where we feel comfortable with what we're running out there. But, clearly from a lineup standpoint, we're just not getting, consistent performance day in and day out. And that's got to change too if we want to start changing L's to W's.
The outfield today is Burleson in left, Carlson in center, Nootbaar in right. The other part of that move was Motter coming to the club, and we haven't seen Motter. What was behind that move in particular? And go ahead.
Yeah, so on Motter, you need guys to understand roles, right? And the problem with prior to that, we have a bunch of young guys all fighting for at bats, whereas Motter knows his role up here. He's not going to walk in the manager's office and say, "Why am I not playing?" or "I need to play." So when you think about building your roster, especially over the long haul, if you're not going to be able to provide at bats, you have to have role players that accept that role. And Motter, of course, does. Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny where people actually thought we were trading Jordan down for Motter up as if we were making some sort of equal talent trade there. I mean, we know what we were doing there. We know Jordan's the future, and we know Motter can give us a stopgap. But more importantly, his attitude and how he approaches things makes it a little bit easier to manage the 13 position players.
You also have Juan Yepes going right now. What is your take on what he's been doing lately?
Well, the good news is he's a younger player and he's getting every day at bats, whereas if he's up here, he's not. And so, that's that trade-off. And what you're hoping for is with the guys down at Memphis that they're experiencing success and they're getting to play every day. And, right now Memphis is playing really good baseball. They've had a lot of positives going on down there, and we just hope that continues.
Adam Wainwright starts today. Your anticipation on Adam's start here, and what have you noticed in his first two, and what could happen here if Adam goes well today?
I would say if all goes well today, there's a high probability his next start's in the big leagues. Obviously what we're looking for is zero discomfort. So a lot of that will be determined on how he feels tomorrow. And then also what's his velocity look like, and, where is he in the strike zone? But, I've always believed that Adam has that one skill that allows him to survive no matter what, and that's his ability to spin it. So my hope is that if all goes well, we see him in St. Louis at the latter part of the week.
The other options when it comes to rotation, and not to continue to harp on rotation because you just made it pretty clear you think that it's a bit unfair that people harp on that rotation so much, but if you were to look externally, that doesn't sound like that's something. I mean, you tell us that you're always looking, but that right now looking outside the organization doesn't sound like a priority at the moment.
not only is it not a priority, it's not practical. You're not going to see a lot of quality getting moved around right now. You might see pieces getting moved, but not something that we would feel is an upgrade. I mean, candidly, if you're looking at like internal options, Livator's throwing the ball really well down there. And so that's a possibility if we felt like he could give us something better than what we're seeing up here.
And you know this because I took some phone calls last hour, and you hear this all the time. I had one caller, more than one, said, well, the Cardinals didn't do anything in the offseason to address the rotation. And my response to that was, how do I know that they didn't try to achieve something externally, but it didn't work out? I mean, you don't know the entire story. So how do you address that when it comes to looking back? You can't go back now, but wishing that something would have happened in the offseason to this rotation?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, like for me, it's like, you know, obviously hindsight's 20/20, but I still don't know like exactly what that means and who they think we should have gotten or why. There were a couple of pitchers that we did pursue. Ironically, they're all on the IL at the moment. So, you know, you just never know. It's like this part of the business is tough. It's, you know, trying to keep people healthy. I think, again, I do not feel like the starting rotation is our reason we're not having a better record right now. I think it's a collection of a lot of things, and, you know, hopefully we can clean it up. And as I said earlier, start winning instead of losing.
Finally, we're going to talk to Ollie Marmol here in 3 minutes. Just your take on him and how Oliver Marmol has handled these first 28 games of the season.
Well, I think all of us are you know, facing something we normally don't face. I mean, this has been certainly a very unusual month for us, playing this kind of baseball. I mean, certainly over, you know, my career, we've had tough months, don't get me wrong, but we came out of camp. There was a lot of excitement from our spring training camp, and, you know, we felt like we saw a lot of things we liked. We thought that would spill over and have success. And, you know, unfortunately, it just hasn't worked. And you know, sort of the irony of all this is, like, you think back to that very first game when we opened against Toronto and we didn't win it, and it was a game we should have won. And it kind of feels like that's just been a carryover. And we got to get off the current train tracks we're on. We got to get on some fresh ones, and we got to figure out a way to get back to our winning ways.
Not only does this road trip end, but the month ends. So May is upon us after this game, but the Cardinals are going to try to finish April on a strong note. They take on the Dodgers today. Ollie Marmol joins us next. John Mozeliak has been with us for the last 10 minutes, and we appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Tommy, and see you next Sunday.
Absolutely. Always good to talk to the president of baseball operations. Joins us every Sunday here on KMOX Radio. We'll be back with the manager and talk to him about his club next on KMOX.
KMOX Enter Service Weekend, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $2,500 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $2,500 towards a new garage door and opener of their choice. You can't win if you don't play. Deadline to enter is April 30th. Enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Good luck. Maybe we'll see you at our next installation.
Hey fans, I'm breaking down MLB Play. I think they're the best MLB games. Now my personal favorite, Beat the Streak. Pick who you'll think will get a hit building your own streak. It's all on you, baby. You can win $5.6 million. The streak's alive! Next up, Pickle. Guess the player in the fewest number of tries. Got him! And there's other games like Bingo, a race to be first. Bingo, MLB Play. Great games, great prizes, and it's all free. No purchase necessary. Restrictions apply. See official rules and enter at MLB.com/play. Oh yeah!
Carol Daniel for the Beam Central Vacuum System, giving you convenience, power, and clean air in your home. I know all this time we have spent at home the last couple of years left us looking at our homes a bit differently. Maybe you got work done, bought new furniture, but did you clear the air? You can with the Beam built-in vacuum system. So easy to use. The power unit is built in, so no more lugging of a heavy unit from room to room. You just plug the hose into the wall and go. The Beam is more powerful than an ordinary vacuum, and more power means it sucks more dirt out of your house or condo. And if you have dust-related allergies, you do need a Beam. Research shows use of a central vacuum system improves indoor air quality by over 50%. We're spending more time at home. Maybe you're even working remotely. Clear the air with the easy-to-install and easy-to-use Beam central vacuum system. Beam central vacuum system owners in the St. Louis region call it Beam Clean because no other vacuum can do what a Beam does. And you can learn more and get your Beam installed at beamstl.com. That's beamstl.com.
Beam's home sale is starting early. Every system for every size home now on sale.
Recently been noticing for about the last year or two that there's warnings on TV before you watch a movie. It says something, it'll say something like involves violence, smoking, alcohol, language. There was one that was about fear. I have to ask you, what the hell is that crap all about? Kind of leads me into where I know you're all thinking this has nothing to do with heat and air conditioning, but it actually does. Point I'm trying to make, I'm looking for customers that need their furnace or air conditioner fixed, that they don't want to be bamboozled, scammed, or lied to. If you're that way, you are definitely my customer. I will shoot you straight. Call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600, or you can do the internet thing. It's bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I, and of course,
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules. Broadcasting from the Underline Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. Celebrate 10 extraordinary St. Louis area women for their outstanding volunteer service and leadership at the 2023 Women of Achievement Luncheon at the Ritz-Carlton St. Louis. From volunteer leaders in human welfare and arts and education to multicultural advocacy and humanitarian concerns. Come celebrate the 2023 Women of Achievement on Tuesday, May 9th at the Ritz-Carlton St. Louis. Doors open at 11:15 a.m. Reservations at WOASTL.org. Presenting sponsors are KMOX Radio, St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and Ladue News. For more information, visit WOASTL.org.
Join the thousands of St. Louisans who donate to Ronald McDonald House Charities of St. Louis. Your donation will assist families in staying together during medical emergencies. Donate today at rmhcstl.com.
Refresh your space with new floors by Champion Floor Company. They offer ceramic, vinyl, carpet, and even natural wood floors that are sanded and finished. Schedule a free estimate at championfloor.com. Champion Floor, delivering excellence every day.
Remember your childhood piggy bank and the satisfaction you felt finally reaping the rewards of your diligent savings? With TrueHold, you can access your biggest piggy bank, your home's equity, and start enjoying the retirement you planned for right now without having to move. Here's how. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value while home values are high. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. Plus, TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance too. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Start enjoying your home's equity while values are high. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined live by Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. He is ready to go as the Cardinals take on the Dodgers in L.A. Good morning, Ollie. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. It's good to hear your voice. Now, we talk baseball every Sunday, and this time we had you a little later in the show, and I appreciate the accommodation, being able to move you around a little bit, get you especially out on the West Coast. And as you make it to the ballpark today, we just got off the phone with John Mozeliak, president of baseball operations. I said, Ollie's going to join us in a few minutes. What do you think? What's your take on how Ollie has handled all of this? And he said, you know, he put it on the entire group and said that it's something that none of us have gone through. And, you know, we're all trying to figure out a way, I'm paraphrasing here, but a way to manage this. And we're all coming up with different ways and solutions to identify how to turn this thing around. How would you describe the current situation your club is in?
No, that's exactly right. And spending every waking hour trying to figure out a way around this. And it's something that obviously doesn't feel good for everybody in-house, players, staff, management, fan base, the whole deal. This is we know what we're up against, and we've dug a hole. Thankfully, the playoffs don't start in May, and we have a lot of baseball to go. But there are some things to clean up, and at the end of the day, we just need more consistency out of everybody. It's my job to get the most out of these guys, and I take full responsibility for where we are at the end of the day. May needs to look different, and that's our job and our goal.
Yeah, getting the most out of a team means a lot of different things in terms of, it's not just about writing a lineup or putting players out on the field, but trying to figure out what's the best situation for that player. Do you want to get more of and was this part of the Jordan Walker move? Do you want to get more of a consistency going? Do you feel like as good? I love the word flexibility when it comes to sports. However, do you feel like there have been a lot of moving parts? Would you like to get things a little more settled?
Yeah, but the reality is no one's running away with the job. And therefore, when you had so many pieces, especially in the outfield, you had 5 guys that were all deserving of being in the starting lineup. And you try to keep them sharp and get them in there. And there's a lot of rotating pieces. Part of that Walker move was exactly that. Is it getting Motter here in exchange for Walker? The answer is no. It's allowing these guys that are now in our outfield some time to go and run away with the job. And Motter understands his role as a bench guy. He knows he's going to get at bats against lefties here and there. He's going to give a guy a day off. But for the most part, we needed to allow the Tyler O'Neills and Carlsons and Nootbaar and Burleson to go ahead and have more consistent at bats to see what we got.
In particular, I was focusing on O'Neill and Carlson, but I mean, you just mentioned all 4, of course. But O'Neill and Carlson have been there a little bit longer. And in particular, Carlson getting an opportunity to play in center field was very good yesterday. What a job.
It was really, really good. The play he made going to the wall there was really nice. He made a sliding catch as well. And that's where there's a human side of this game, and being able to look a guy in the eye, and sometimes they're deserving. In that 9th inning, did we have some options to come off the bench and take an at bat? The answer is yes. But when you got a guy playing his butt off out there and looking for an opportunity to run away with something, at times you give them that shot, and he gets a base hit there or drives him in, and who knows how he takes off moving forward. So it was fun watching him play center yesterday.
Caller had a question about late in the game. You put him in as a lefty because you want to see him swing lefty, but you had Gorman available. So just wondering, the caller wanted to know, and I'll chime in there as well, just in that situation, what went into that? Same thing, you want to see Dylan make something happen and that he's earned that?
Yeah, and here's the thing. We know where certain guys are and how they're feeling at the moment. And over the course of the time, has Gorman had really good at bats and driven in some big runs and hit some big home runs? The answer is absolutely yes. So is he an option? Yes. Is there a better option for contact than Burleson, who we also had on the bench? The answer is yes. But at times you give a guy an opportunity, and we gave Carlson that opportunity, and it didn't work. Can you take the safe bet and let Gorman take that at bat? And if he strikes out, it's still analytically the right play. And yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we gave Carlson a shot and it didn't work.
And if you're on the team, you get that. By and large, you're going to get that opportunity. As you mentioned, you also mentioned the courage to stick with Jordan Hicks, and it looks like that is starting to pay off. I mean, he's looked really good in your bullpen.
Yeah, and that's the thing that at times over the course of a long season, you give guys opportunities in order to see if it turns for them. And we had a lot of people saying that Jordan Hicks didn't deserve to be on the team, and he wasn't doing his job, and we needed to replace him with somebody. But at times you're patient and you start to instill confidence in the guy and let them work through some things. And now we're seeing a really good version, and a guy that continues to go out there and just punch out the world. So yes, there are times to push buttons, and there are other times where you need to be patient and see if you can get the most out of somebody. And Hicks is a great example of that at the moment.
How do you approach old number 28 now? Nolan Arenado, it's going to erupt at some point. Then he's so intense and locked in. How do you approach a superstar like that when he's going through a tough time?
Yeah, we've had some good conversations. We had another one last night, and this is a guy that really cares. And if there's anything that, when you look at Nolan, and we have a couple guys this way, but you can get to the point where you care too much, where you're trying to do too much, where you're wanting to get out of it and get 3 hits with 1 swing. And he is very in tune with his body. He knows when he's feeling good. He knows when he's not. And it's a matter of time before he breaks out. But there's not a magic pill or anything. It's a matter of continuing to write his name in the lineup. And we've seen it before. He had a really tough May last year. And when you look at his June and July and so forth, like, he broke out and had an incredible year. So we're going to go through little bits of weeks where this happens, but you write his name in the lineup and keep going.
I appreciate the time. I see him in the lineup. He's batting third today and playing third base. Nolan Arenado, and the Cardinals taking on the Dodgers today. Final game of the series, 3:10 for the start, 2:15 pregame. We'll have Ollie get back to it, but we appreciate this time very much. Get a win and come home safely, and we'll see you at Busch Stadium.
You got it.
Ollie Marmol, Cardinals manager, with us on KMOX. That's it for the show. Sports on a Sunday Morning, sponsored by Gray Bar. Thank you for all of your calls in the 10 o'clock hour. We'll do that more often. We'll do it in good times as well, not just when the team is in a bit of a slump. And John Mozeliak, also always very good, as well as Lutz Pfannenstiel, for joining us live on KMOX. For producer Drew Young, I'm Tom Ackerman. Thanks for joining us. A little soccer discussion next.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey for my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, with some exciting updates for serious home sellers. Gloria Liu understands that every seller situation is different. For some sellers,